Hey everybody, what's up? Today I thought we would talk about how to grow tulips. Now tulips are obviously one of my absolute favorites. They are all over this channel. And another thing I really like about them is that even if you are a total beginner and have no clue how to garden, you can be successful with tulips if you live in the right place. So let's get started. First and foremost, they come in a wide variety of colors and shapes. They really do extend just beyond, the grocery store type tulips that you see being sold in bulk that are kind of, You also need to take into account that there are early, mid-season, and late flowering varieties. I personally like to plant all three of these so that I can extend the bloom period as long as possible and enjoy flowers early in the spring. Now, as long as you live in the zones indicated on your tulips packaging, you probably won't have too much trouble. And in a lot of cases, it really is just as simple as, planting them into the ground. While a lot of packaging tells you to plant the bulbs several inches deep, for the most part, I can get away with planting them a little more shallow here in my climate that doesn't have as harsh of a winter as somewhere else that's going to plant them. So it really just depends on what works in your garden. I planted my tulip bulbs in October. In the springtime, you'll start seeing the leaves begin to break through the soil and start to unfurl. And in the spring you'll have some gorgeous blooms. If you have access to a florist cooler, you can actually store flowers with tightly closed buds wrapped in newspaper. The thing to remember about tulips is that they do need a certain amount of chill hours before they're able to bloom. So generally I think they're hardy in zones about 3 through 8. Some of them might vary a little bit. Now if you do live in a warm climate, there are some ways to still grow tulips. You can buy pre-chilled bulbs from suppliers. I know certain suppliers sell those online. You may have to go ahead and do some Google searching about that because I'm not entirely sure. Now, since tulips are true bulbs, everything that's needed for the season's growth has been already stored inside the bulb. This is really why we can get some gorgeous flowers from forcing them inside in winter. If you're not familiar with what forcing is, all it is when you take a flower bulb and you cause it to bloom indoors in a pot or in a vase or in water or something like that when it's not the season for it. When planting the bulbs, I like to put mine extremely close, as if they were sitting in an egg carton, very close to each other but not touching with the pointy end up. I do this because I use mine for cut flowers and I can just get more flowers in a smaller area. This would also work if you want just a jam-packed beautiful bed. In my experience, it hasn't hurt them at all just to go ahead and plant them a little closer, especially if you're going to be treating these as an annual like I do. While tulips are technically supposed to come back every single year, I have absolutely terrible luck with this. So I generally pull the entire plant, and if you want to see how I do that, there's a whole video for it. But every garden is different, so they might come back and bloom again for you just fine. And not only that, some varieties are more prone to rebloom than others. If you do decide to let them come back the next year and try for blooms again, you want to be sure to leave on as much foliage as possible until it dies back completely to the ground, and then you can discard it. By leaving all the foliage on, we're helping the bulb store energy for next year's growth. If you don't pick your flower and after the flower is faded, be sure to go ahead and snip off that old bloom so that a seed pod doesn't develop, because you want all the energy to go back to the bulb and not to developing seeds for it. As with all ornamentals and cut flowers that you put in your garden, I think it's safest to go ahead and assume that most of them are toxic, and I do believe that tulips are toxic to some degree. As always, it's up to you to be responsible and do your research and really know what you're putting into your garden and around your kids and your pets and everybody. I just like to be on the side of caution. That's just me. I think that's it. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best as possible. Coming in the fall, I'll probably do a video about forcing if that's something you guys are interested in. As always, I hope it is really sunny wherever you are, and I hope you're having a great day. Bye guys!